Thank you. Alongside Toronto Blue Jays reporter Keegan Matheson of MLB.com and the host of OverDrive on TSN 1050, Bryan Hayes. And guys, after all the excitement of the Game 7 win in the ALCS and all the excitement and hype leading up to Game 1 of the World Series, the Toronto Blue Jays could have been due for a bit of a letdown game, a comeback to earth game, if you will, but not tonight, not in Game 1 of this World Series where they pumped the defending champions. How big was it to set the tone in Game 1?
This is massive. This sends a message and it shifts the entire feeling of this series because the Blue Jays have been billed as the underdog here by a lot of people who I don't think have watched more than 2 Blue Jays games this season. This is a very good baseball team, and you just saw exactly why in that big inning. They showed every little bit of what makes them great. They chip away with everyone, they have a big moment, and they pile on. This is huge, and it completely shifts the advantage in this series.
Yeah, it definitely does, and it feels a little bit like deja vu because we had the same conversation after the Yankees series, right? And going into the Mariners series, how big is Game 1? And ultimately, I realized pretty quickly, Game 1 against the Yankees, this team, this Blue Jay team, was not going to be a deer in the headlights. It was not going to happen. This is a completely different beast. This is Game 1 of the World Series. First time in 32 years at the Rogers Center. Shohei Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, and the Dodgers are rolling through town. And they took over this game. They looked incredibly comfortable right from the first pitch, right from the first at bat. Obviously, it allows them to breathe, and now they're in the driver's seat moving forward.
Let's talk about the bottom of the 6th inning. That was when the Toronto Blue Jays just blew this thing wide open. And this has really been the bread and butter for the Blue Jays all season. It's the unsung heroes. It's the bottom of the order. And then it was highlighted by that Addison Barger pinch hit grand slam. First ever pinch hit grand slam in World Series history. What is it that makes these Blue Jays bats so relentless?
And you always need that one extra thing. If you're a scrappy team, you'll get to the ALDS, you'll get to the wild card like they have, and then you'll lose very quickly because there's more talented teams. They're finally finding that extra swing on top of it. When you're a scrappy team that piles up hits and moves runners, then you hit the home run, that's what a World Series team looks like. And you're seeing a lineup that really trusts one another. This is what a good clubhouse looks like too. There's not selfishness. There's not a player trying to get paid or have their big moments. They understand that winning players have moments and get paid. It's really impressive to see this all watched together, but you need the big one.
Yeah, you sure do, but you mentioned it, Keegan, like the idea of this team being all in. How did that rally start in the top of the 6th or bottom of the 6th? Bo Bichette drawing a walk, something he is not known to do, right? Bo can usually step into the box and swing out of his shoes. Takes a walk. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa steps in. That's John Schneider, I think, saying, this is our chance to pounce. Blake Snell was still in the game. They did that. They got to the bullpen, which is a huge overarching topic of this series, isn't it? You got to get to the bullpen. We know how stout the offense or the rotation is for this Dodger team. And to put this inning into perspective, Alejandro Kirk had a single and a 2-run home run, and it's burying the lead, right? Like, you can't even bring up his part in all that because of the Barger pinch hit grand slam. It was an incredible inning. It was an incredible night, and that is when everyone in this building could breathe a little bit because you realize the Jays were probably going to take this home.
And I don't know how many games has happened this season, Keegan, but someone who was not in the lineup to start the game comes into the lineup and ends up being a game changer, as Addison Barger was in this one. As for the pitching, it's no secret the game plan for both of these teams is get to the other team's bullpen. Blue Jays were able to expose the Dodgers bullpen. Dodgers were not able to expose the Jays bullpen at all. The relievers pitched 5 innings of relief, gave up just 2 hits and 2 runs. What did you think overall of the Jays pitching in Game 1?
Trey Savage survived, and that was good enough for this game. He'll need to be better next game. It seems like we've seen 2 Trey Savages. One of them throws a splitter, the other doesn't. I really prefer the Trey Savage that throws one of the best pitches we've seen in baseball this season, and I'd like to see him next time he's out there. He said that he had a better feel for his slider today, and they can look similar. They both go down at a very sharp angle. It's a very vertical slider, but he got a feel for that early on and stuck to it instead of going back to that splitter, which is what made him so good. Think back to that playoff debut with the Yankees when he made them look foolish. That was splitter, splitter, splitter. I want to see more of that, but he survived and he got out of some big jams.
He did. He survived. He got out of big jams. He ended up beating Blake Snell, technically, right? Louis Varland could relax tonight, which is also a first, something we haven't seen in a long time. But it's all generally about, the pitching is going to add up in terms of how you approach this potent lineup with the Dodgers. And, of course, we're going to talk about Shohei Ohtani. And I think Savage striking him out to start the night, again, was very, very significant. You had Mason Fluharty come in later in the game and get him out. And yes, Shohei ended up hitting a 2-run home run, one of the more empty-calorie home runs you're going to see in a World Series because the game was out of hand. But he had a couple of strikeouts tonight. He came up in the top of the second, bases loaded. Savage got out of that by making him ground out to first. So really, they attacked Ohtani tonight. They attacked Betts and Freeman in the top of that lineup. Really, it could not have gone any better for the pitchers. But like you said, Savage gets through it, sets up beautifully for future, as we continue into this series. And I think John Schneider, Pete Walker, they're going to be really happy with the way everything played out.
Looking ahead to Game 2, Kevin Gausman gets the ball for the Toronto Blue Jays. Yoshinobu Yamamoto will get it for the LA Dodgers. Yamamoto is a righty. So how does this pitching matchup stack up tomorrow? And what sort of lineup changes do you anticipate with a righty on the mound?
Yeah, Yamamoto is tough, and he's more of a sure thing than Blake Snell. Blake Snell can be anything on any given night. Yamamoto was rock solid. So I think you're going to see the Blue Jays go back to a pretty similar versus right-handed lineup that we've seen. That probably means Nathan Lucas back up in the number 2 spot instead of Davis Schneider. You'll see Addison Barger in there as a starter. And I'd like to see Bo Bichette again at shortstop. I liked enough of what I saw. They chased upside in the lineup. I liked that, but Yamamoto is a huge challenge.
Yeah, it is, and I like the fact that Lucas got into the game tonight, Barger got into the game, which you would expect, of course, once they went to the bullpen, and that's significant in a night like tonight. Everyone feels like they're a part of the series, but you roll over to tomorrow night, you know the Dodgers are going to have their A stuff. You expect an LA Dodger response tomorrow night if you're the Blue Jays, and conversely, if you're Kevin Gausman, this is uncharted territory. He's taken the ball game 1 of the previous 2 series. Now he's stepping on the mound with a chance to really put his foot down on this series. He can really make an impact. And yes, Yamamoto you would expect to pitch well. You would expect the Dodgers to show up and play well. Kevin Gausman is a big game pitcher, right? He is born for this. It's not only Vladdy. I think Kevin Gausman is going to sleep well tonight. He's going to feel good about stepping on the mound tomorrow. And if they can find a way to take Game 2 flying back to LA, everything changes.
Well, the fans serenading Shohei Ohtani with the "We Don't Need You"
What a moment.
might have been poking the bear. I don't know if that might come back to haunt Blue Jays fans. It is early on in this series, but the Blue Jays do take Game 1, and that is huge because in the wild card era, there have been 30 fall classics. The team that has won Game 1 has won 24 of those, and some quick calculations tell me that is 80% of the time.